What's going on, guys? My name's Alex Rondego. I play heavy in competitive TF2 Highlander, and this is going to be my first video. Going to be talking about some pretty simple stuff, just basically loadouts for the heavy. There's not a whole lot of content out there for heavy, and I figured I'd start to make some stuff. I'm going to be making a series of videos, my thoughts on certain things, positioning, game sense, just general things when it comes to Highlander heavy. Should be some pretty good stuff. But in terms of loadout, it's really it's pretty simple. One of the great things about the heavy is that the combat is so damn simple. This is literally it. I'm talking objectively, just the combat itself. You're not an engineer who has to deal with your shotgun, your pistol, or whatever secondary you have, your sentry gun, your buildings, your dispenser and teleporter. You're not a spy who has to deal with a revolver, a knife, a sapper for engineer buildings. You have some pretty simple rolls as a heavy, and your combat is dead simple. It's really just about tracking. That being said, the minigun that you use is pretty important. But also, that being said, the regular minigun is... if you've seen any videos of heavies in Highlander, you probably know that this is the most preferred weapon, for obvious reasons, really. It's reliable, it's the stock weapon, it gets damage out, and it's relatively versatile compared to some of the other options. That's the stock minigun. I mean, festive, you got all this stuff. There's really not a lot of other options that are as viable. The only other one, for the most part, is the Tomislav. The Tomislav can be useful, but it's pretty situational. You use it when you're really trying to ambush, and the reason it's difficult is because lower level teams, which usually have new players or unskilled players, they're not going to have the game sense or the skill that's necessary to be able to predict, oh, I'm going to need the Tomislav because I'm planning on waiting in the corner and ambushing because they won't be able to hear me. It's difficult. Because when you're not ambushing, the Tomislav really, you can see the stats here, 20% slower firing speed. I think that's 200 less damage per second that it puts out, which is pretty significant. And I know you can say, oh, the faster spin-up time can offset that. If you're in direct combat with, say, another heavy, sure, it can make up for a little bit of it, but the reduced damage really doesn't make it that useful in most situations. But the spin-up time is nice, don't get me wrong. The silent spin-up is great, but again, it's not as versatile, and it really completely loses all of its pros as soon as anybody spots you. It's only good if you're hanging around a corner trying to get a pick, which that's really not what you should be doing as a heavy anyway. But we'll talk about that later. Other options, Brass Beast. It does more damage, but that... if you play Highlander at all, you probably know that damage is not everything. The negatives to the Brass Beast, the slower spin-up time, the move speed, it's a huge setback when you're playing heavy, because it makes you an easier target for snipers, for spies. You're essentially a sentry gun, a second sentry gun when you have the Brass Beast. And assuming your engineer is competent and is doing his job and has a sentry gun and is repairing it, there's no reason why you should be a second sentry gun. Your role is a lot more dynamic than a sentry. So the Brass Beast is not usually ever used in Highlander. I've never seen it. Natasha, actually, not too bad. But again, that's more situational. And the thing with changing your primary weapon is that, especially Natasha's the biggest one. It's not just a matter of, oh, we're playing this map, I'm going to try Natasha because I want to slow my enemies down. It really involves you changing your entire gameplay style. And for a heavy, that's a big thing, because you'll play and you'll get used to a certain gameplay style, and then you'll say, oh, I want to try out a different weapon, and chances are, much better than not, you're going to end up really falling flat on your face with it, because it's a completely different weapon. So if we look at Natasha, it slows down your target. You have 50% max primary ammo, but the damage penalty, the slower spin-up time. Here's a good way to put it is, if you can't name, or I shouldn't say, if you don't understand the reason why the weapon has these stats, if you don't understand why the having more ammo is balanced out by the damage and spin-up time, then you don't really know the purpose of the weapon. And if you don't know the purpose of the weapon, then you're going to fall flat on your face. The minigun, again, is great because it's stock, it's dead simple, there's no drawbacks, and it's a lot more versatile than the other miniguns. Feel free to give them a try. Huolong Heater, if you're planning on pushing the cart, by all means give it a shot. But it's about versatility when it comes to Highlander. You need to be able to fill the role that you need to fill when the time comes. And if you have the wrong minigun for the job at the wrong time, that can cost your life, and your life can cost the team getting pushed back, and your team getting pushed back can cost a round. And maybe that round was the finals match of Iron or Steel or whatever it was. So, especially at higher levels, these things can really start to matter. But it's good to start thinking about them now. Think about what weapon does what. But my advice is just go with the stock minigun. It's the most versatile, and you'll see most heavies using it for good reason. Secondary. This really shouldn't even be discussed that much, but I'll give my thoughts on it. The sandwich. Vintage sandwich, which I actually think is better because it's aged like fine wine as an older item. But in all seriousness, I've never seen a heavy who ran maybe once or twice in a lobby or in a scrim. I've seen heavy running shotgun. It's funny because if you run a shotgun, the only downside to the shotgun is that it's not a sandwich. Seriously, the sandwich is one of the most useful items in the game. It's a medium health pack, and its versatility is extreme. It's not just the fact that you can take the 4 seconds and heal yourself up 300 health completely, but on top of that, you can throw it. It acts as an emergency. It's the same as a medium health pack for a medic, for any teammate during a push that needs it. It's extremely useful. But on top of that, you can throw down a sandwich and you can get a new one when your health is at full. So now there's a medium health pack there, and keep in mind that the health packs on maps spawn faster than a sandwich. So, see? That only took, I forgot what the spawn time on a regular health pack is. I think that's 10 or 15 seconds. A sandwich takes 30 seconds. Excuse me, to reload. So whenever I'm around a team and I see a medium or a small health pack and I have full health or I'm buffed, I'll just throw a sandwich down where my team is busy, and I'll take the health pack. It'll come back pretty quickly, and the sandwich will be there when the health pack spawns, and it's extremely useful. If you're running sandwich, then yeah, definitely throw it down. Your teammates will love you for it. Shotgun, like I said, is okay. Nothing wrong with it, but like I said, it's only the downside is that it's not a sandwich, and that is awful. So sandwich is definitely your best bet when it comes to Highlander, because team play is extremely important. Same thing with the buffalo steak sandwich, the Dolichos bar. Not so great because they're not as team oriented. Those items are there to help you in your own combat, and as a heavy, it's not about you, it's about your team. That's the bottom line. Same thing with the family business. It needs to be about your team. That's where the sandwich really shines. Some people like the buffalo stick sandwich if you're running a certain loadout like Fist of Steel, because it'll help you get to mid-fight faster. Personally, I've never used that because the taking damage, you take 25% increased damage when you use it, and if you're getting to a mid-fight, you're still under the effect and you're getting spammed by a demo, or a scout gets behind and you're still under that effect, you can take a lot of damage unless you have the Fist of Steel out, but then you're just useless anyway. So my advice, just stick with the sandwich. It's really best thing, hands down. Melee, this is a tie actually. I have my preferences. Every heavy's going to have his or her preferences. It's between the Fist of Steel and the Gloves of Running Urgently. Again, like I just said, the main theme is that all the other options are focused on you. The Killing Gloves of Boxing, they force you to kill an enemy, which is never going to happen. It might happen once or twice in Highlander, but it's not worth justifying equipping it full time just for those the rare moments. Frying Pan, Eviction Notice, Warrior Spirit, don't even go there. It's about you. You'll never get melee hits enough to justify that. But these weapons are fantastic, and I'll tell you why. Gloves are running urgently. This is what most heavies in Highlander are going to be running, especially brand new heavies, because the speed boost is fantastic. You are this behemoth of a class. You are a tank. You move very slowly. So to get this speed bonus, is almost as useful as the sandwich itself. It's extremely useful to be able to get from point A to point B faster in any Highlander situation. If you're talking about versatility, that is through the roof. That is fantastic. So that's why most heavies will be running that. And the negatives for this weapon, the damage penalty, doesn't matter. You're not going to be hitting people with this weapon anyway. But the marked for death while active can be easily offset by, of course, before you get to the battle. A few seconds before you get to the front lines, you switch off to your primary, and that the skull, the little mini crit symbol that you'll be taking mini crits, will disappear, and you'll have gotten to where you need to go much faster. Personally, though, I'm going to say 98% of the time, I'm going to be running Fists of Steel. And this is why. Because as much as I love the gloves are running urgently, and don't get me wrong, I know the value, like I said, the value in the speed boost, the value in being able to get somewhere quickly and being the tank that you are, one of your biggest downsides as a class is your speed as a heavy. If you could move as fast as a scout as a heavy, and you didn't have to spin up, that would be the most overpowered class in the entire game, and probably in video game history, maybe, I don't know. So the speed is a fantastic upgrade, but the reason I run Fists of Steel is because between these two melee weapons, it's about speed and maneuverability versus survivability. Of course, with the gloves of running urgently, you have speed and maneuverability, and with the Fists of Steel, you have survivability. The problem is, for me, when I'm running gloves of running urgently, and I run it sometimes, it depends on the situation, but usually what will happen is I'll run the gloves of running urgently, I'll get from point A to point B pretty quickly, I'll get to where I need to go, and I'll be there faster, which is great. But once I'm in the battle, I'll still have the gloves of running urgently, and that's a problem, because if I need to escape, or if I need to get somewhere, sure, I'll be able to get there fast, but if I'm in the middle of a battle and I get caught out, if I need to get somewhere and I switch to my melee, I'm going to have those mini crits, and it's going to be very easy, with as big of a target as I am, it's going to be very easy to take me down, or take any heavy down. Even if he's buffed, even if he's got a medic on him, those mini crits, remember, the mini crits don't take fall-off damage. They don't, the fall-off damage doesn't apply, so you could have someone spamming you with a pistol, like a scout from across the map, it's going to do a lot of damage, because it's going to hit you for the same damage that it would if he were shooting at point blank. And you're too big of a target that, for me, personally, it's not worth it. And again, it comes down to personal preference. But the reason I run Fists of Steel, basically 98% of the time, is because, for me, I'll take the speed hit. I'll take being the slowest person in the game. I don't mind getting from A to B slowly if it means that once I'm there, I have this option. If I'm in a bind and I need to get out, my medic retreats because he's fast, he can get away. But if I'm in the middle of something, I need to get out, I can just switch to my melee because I have it, and I can get away. I'm a little bit slower, but these things take 40, they reduce your damage from ranged, and this is bullets, this is fire, this is arrows, this is anything that's not melee, reduces it by 40%. The health that you already have, you can get out of many more situations than you would die in if you have this melee on. Unless you're really getting spammed out, it's really hard for anybody to take you down, even if you don't have a medic. The only thing, actually, it's not even, because if you switch to your Fist of Steel, one really good way to use it is if you got a sniper watching, and you know he's aiming at you, you switch to these things. Even if he headshots you in his fully charged headshot, if you're at full health, that's not going to take you down. And you'll be able to get away and get healed, and you will avoid the 15-second or 10-second respawn, whatever it is. So for me, these things are invaluable. Like I said, I'll take the speed hit if it means that once I'm at my destination, maybe it's 3 or 4 seconds late, but once I'm there, as long as I survive, I'll have this as an option. That's why I run these 98% of the time. But like I said, it comes down to personal preference. The gloves running urgently have a ton of value, and I'll run them when I need to. But if you're talking about a default, this is what I prefer, is the Fist of Steel. And that's really it. Heavy, like I said, simple combat, simple loadouts. It's really down to personal preference between a few weapons. And as you learn, you'll adapt and you'll find your playstyle and figure out what suits you best. You'll be able to switch weapons accordingly, and that'll be your story. That'll be you as a heavy, as you get on with it. but you'll switch weapons as you need to, and it won't be that big of a deal. So, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I'll be making, I plan on making more of these in the future. Let me know if you like this and what else I can do. I'll do some map reviews in the future. I'll do, like I said, thoughts on different maps and different strategies and positioning, game sense, different heavy stuff for Highlander. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more interesting than this, but for now, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.